We're all set.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's April Fool's Day. It's April 1st. Do you do April Fools in your country? Um, we're not fooling around. We are going to learn some Aiken. We call this the Community Code Review. It's an Aiken live coding in support of the Aiken PDL developed by Gimbalabs and Sedan Labs, actually. Um, well, I'm here with Harsha and Gideon's here. Lewis is here. Ahmed is here. We spend about 90 minutes going and reviewing code. I think the theme of today is time. And so, what do you think? Harsha, are you ready to jump in and get
Yeah, yeah,
into
I
this
am
code?
ready. So I was thinking we'll just go through this lesson really fast, and check if our mental models are correct about time.
Yeah.
Okay? How do you guys feel? Like Ahmad, Gideon, Lewis, you guys are down for that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Love
Beautiful,
it.
beautiful.
Love it. I'm
Uh,
reacting. Thumbs up.
Newman, do you want to quickly go through this, or would you like me to quickly go through this lesson?
Yeah, just in the interest of speed, yeah, go for it. And then yeah, yeah,
Okay, so the lesson is on Aiken. The lesson is in Aiken PBL, and this is hosted on the Andamio platform. And this lesson is called Introducing Time Validity Ranges. Okay, uh, so there is a code example. So they are saying the code example is in module 201. Let's open that module 201.
and I could share that link.
Where is this module 201? Module, okay, here it is, module 201, time.ak.
Yeah,
Here it is. And are you guys able to see the code here?
yeah, we got it. That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
Okay, beautiful. So in this, what they did is they defined a datum, and it has two fields, must be after and must be before. Both of them are integers. Familiar with data type shorthand, learn about vodka. Okay, that's all fine. Um, and it is a spending validator, and they are basically checking if the transaction when does the transaction happen versus in which time frame must the transaction happen. Does this Is this making sense to you guys? So they are saying the transaction has to happen within this time range,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah,
integer
yeah.
will be like a POSIX time or like a
I mean, right now it's just integers, so
int.
I
Yeah.
guess it might be POSIX time, or maybe
Oh,
it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters to be honest. Yeah, but okay, we'll get to it. Yeah.
Uh, so instead of directly going through this, let me quickly read this and see what they are trying to say with it. So they are giving this part, which is exactly where we are at. Expect some datum, they're unwrapping the datum, and they're checking valid before and valid after. And they're saying is upper bound correct and is lower bound correct. Do you guys know what valid before and valid after does? I want to quickly take a look.
Oh yeah,
Valid,
that's a vodka.
that's a vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
so let me go to vodka then.
Yeah.
Valid before checks if the validity range is before the required timestamp. So I want to draw this out. So what does this mean? If the validity range is before the timestamp, what does that mean? So say for example, this is the validity range, lower bound, upper bound, and everything in between is the validity range, right? When they
Yeah,
say check if the validity range is after the timestamp, so are they saying the time is here in this part?
yes,
Okay, so okay, I'm gonna put time there. So this is checking validity range is after After the required timestamp.
So
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 I would think the time is here, no? If the validity range
uh,
is after the required time.
I think we're talking about valid before.
Oh, so this is valid after. Oh, you're right. Check
Yeah.
validity range is
Um,
before. No.
so
Yeah. Uh-huh. Go
so
ahead,
check
Newman.
this out. Let's slow down for just a second on this valid,
Mm-hmm.
and we could do valid before or valid after, because I think we
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
use look at the example they give again, because they use both. It seems like they go,
Like in the lesson, are you
yeah, in
saying
the
in the lesson?
lesson, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, here you go.
valid before and
Uh-huh.
valid after. Valid before on 25, valid after on 27.
Yes,
And
correct.
so what it's taking is the validity range, which it gets from the transaction. That's what the transaction brings. And then the second parameter there comes from the datum, which is the datum comes in our validator, and it
Mm-hmm.
says must be before. So,
So how about like we divide this up into two pieces?
okay.
Both of them are just timestamps, right? Must be before is one timestamp,
Yeah.
must
yeah.
be after is another timestamp. So let's
Yeah.
just consider must be before timestamp. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So now, if this is must be before timestamp, or let
Just go
me
ahead and
say
spell it. Just call it
must be,
must. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. No reason for
yeah,
think.
must be before. Okay. So
Yeah.
this must be before. If we go back here, must be before or valid before,
Mm-hmm.
check if the validity range is
Is
before the
before the
required
required
timestamp.
timestamp.
So valid before. So that means must be is
Yeah.
before the timestamp. So are they saying it is here? Must be before. Yeah. So valid before, that means the timestamp is here.
So
Okay.
let's. Yeah. What do you think, Gideon?
Yeah, I think yeah, it's before. Before
Okay.
means
Behind.
behind, yeah.
Um, and what did they use in the lesson? Must be before. They used valid before only, no? Valid before the required timestamp. Okay. So yeah. Um, must be
My
before.
thought. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my thought is that this pattern is just a good pattern, even if you only have one. Well, I don't know. So does this work when you just have a deadline? It's just a deadline, and the deadline is a single moment in time. you know. So the deadline is POSIX time, 4711345.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
six digit
yeah.
integer or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And or is it better to have a time like a before? Is it better to have like a range? Always use a range. So a deadline is like an hour, but it seems like it needs to be,
So, so even in this case, Newman, uh, forget about the two parts. Even at
yeah,
this point, it's just a deadline. Must be
okay.
before is a deadline, but
And it's the
it is
same as must
basically
be after.
no, it's not. It's not. So must be before is a deadline, and the transaction needs to happen before it.
Right. So we could just use one. Yeah. We can just use
Yeah, this
one.
is just one. This is just one at the moment, but there is
Basically,
another
must be
one.
before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So must be before is the deadline. You don't have to use a must be after because that's
No, no. So you are mixing up two things.
okay. Okay.
So because this is a different example, right? We are not
Right.
using our example.
Right. Right.
In this, there are two deadline, two time limits. There's a time interval.
Right.
So one is must be before, and the other one is must be after, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So they are just saying the actual time interval
Yeah.
should be in between must be after and must be before. That's what they're
Yeah.
checking here.
Yeah, that seems simple enough. I mean,
Okay.
no.
Now, if we
Yeah.
had to come back to our example, and this is slightly different, which is what we did last time, which is assignment 201. What they
Yeah,
are
here we go.
saying
Let's look at
is,
this.
if you look at it, write a validator that succeeds before a deadline if it sends something something and succeeds after a deadline. So that means there's a deadline, but there are success cases both before and after.
Okay,
Mm.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
So now how do you make how would you draw that even in this case? So there is a single deadline. So there is no must be after, must be before. There is a single one.
Success after and success before.
Yeah. So both of them are valid. After and
Mm.
before are both valid. But there is a deadline. So what I'll do is I'll
Mm.
put a deadline. Um,
Nice.
okay. And the deadline, at least like my immediate assumption is the deadline has to be between like the validity range. Or yeah, it has
No.
to. That's what I am thinking. What do you guys think? Does this
Mm-hmm.
make sense? The
Uh,
deadline has to be within the validity range.
Yeah, success before and then success after, Ama.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
But, oh,
I
yeah.
think keep
So
drawing it out. Keep drawing it out. And you
yeah,
could
yeah.
even
Keep
just
going, keep
put,
going. Yeah,
I think you could
sorry.
just put like a time, because basically you're working on a timeline there. So just like make a timeline and then we've got a deadline is the timeline. And then um these that L and U stands for lower limit and upper limit of
correct,
validity range. So
correct.
those are connected. Yeah.
So
Actually,
my
um,
immediate, go ahead.
I'm getting in there. I
Yeah.
know
I have
which
a
file you're
question
working on
though.
now.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Is the deadline supposed to be a range of time or just one specific
Just
time?
one timestamp.
Then it can't be like this.
Why is
Yeah.
that?
The deadline doesn't
Because
go between the two, right?
if the deadline is a specific time, it cannot. This is basically like representing a time range from L to U.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it cannot. I don't think it can be like this.
So the lower and upper bound is basically within this time range, within this interval, the transaction will succeed. And if we don't set the interval, say for example, we are not even setting the validity range, right? So that
Mm.
means the lower limit is minus infinity and the upper limit is plus infinity, correct?
Yes.
And in our specific problem, the transaction can succeed before or after the deadline. So, it's not technically a deadline. It's just the conditions change after a timestamp. That's it.
Okay.
Does that make sense here? Uh,
Uh,
let me let me remove this part so you can read this. Write a validator that succeeds before a deadline if it sends output to at least two different addresses. And it succeeds after a deadline only if the transaction is signed by some administrator. So in both cases, it succeeds, just the conditions are different.
Yeah.
Does that make
okay.
sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So do you still think the deadline should not be within the intervals? Because I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking the deadline should be in the validity interval because, in both cases, it has to succeed.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. Um, but how would we even work with this deadline is what I don't understand right now. How
Mm-hmm.
will we know if we have
How we
passed the deadline or
identify the
not?
deadline? Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we do that? So there is like a timestamp.
Yeah. Probably have
How
to
does the
specify.
blockchain know if we have passed that timestamp or not? Um, um, So I don't know.
Well,
I don't
that's
know how.
that, but that's that valid.
Okay, yeah, I think we can
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
basically use this same logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a validity range from lower to upper, L to U, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can use
Correct.
that to check. So if the deadline is greater than L,
Uh-huh.
or is
So greater than L will be here. Okay.
yeah, that means we have not exceeded, right? Or we have not reached the deadline yet.
Oh.
But then if it's less than U,
Oh. Um,
I'm still trying to wrap my head
I no, but I get your line of thought. Um, I do get your line of thought actually. So now what Gideon just mentioned is this. Let me quickly draw it out. So Gideon is specifically mentioning this range. You see this part from the lower bound to the deadline, and another part is this part. Oh, what is this? Oh, I don't know how to. Where's the? Okay, let me get this. And this part from the deadline to the upper bound. I think he's working with these two intervals. Uh, so if our transaction exists here, then like one condition is activated. But if our
Mm.
transaction exists here, then another condition is activated.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, I like this.
what is that? Oh, like
Yeah,
okay, deadline. Okay, yeah, yeah, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, deadline like that.
Yeah.
And then this.
Let me remove this arrow thing just
Well, yeah,
for.
let me get it up here because it's yeah, yeah, we can just take it out.
Okay. Okay. Now I think I get so. Um. So what we are. So how do we do this? How do we say that our transaction is within this range? Should we use
I feel like it
valid?
should be, sorry,
Uh-huh.
so I feel like it should be one continuous bar and then deadline. Or instead of having three bars. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute, like this.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now.
Validity range.
It goes sideways. It goes a little. Come on now. There it goes. Why is it doing that? There you go.
So how do we know that a transaction is within this range between the deadline and the lower bound? Is it valid after? No. Yeah, how do we know if
I
it
have
if
like
it is?
a
Go
little
ahead, go ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
You know, it should be pretty straightforward, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but maybe if we check out what validity range is and maybe understand it, we can actually try to,
Absolutely. We were
you
just
know,
looking at it. If you guys want to go through this together.
bring about this diagram to analyze what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what
Absolutely.
is validity range? What are
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah. Let's go through this really quick. So let's take 5 minutes and read to this. So
Okay.
validity intervals, this is directly from the Aiken documentation. You
Paste
probably
it.
already know. What was that?
Oh, could you paste it in the chat?
Oh, I
This
got it.
one?
I got it. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
get it in the chat.
Okay, okay.
You'll get it? Okay, cool. You probably know already that Cardano smart contract execution is fully deterministic. This, however, raises an interesting question. How to deal with time? Asking for the current time usually breaks determinism because asking the same question at different moments may lead to different answers and thus different execution paths. So, how to introduce time in script validation transactions? Cardano decouples transaction validation into two phases. And we typically refer to them as phase 1 validation and phase 2 validation. Phase 1 validations are structural checks on a transaction performed by the ledger. For example, this is when the ledger verifies that inputs referenced in a transaction are valid, that minimum amounts for fees and outputs are met, etc. Okay. Among the available features of a transaction are validity intervals that define a period after which and until the ledger can consider the transaction valid. So this is, I think, important. This is what a validity range is. Among the available features, there's validity range that defines a period after which and until a ledger can be considered valid. So that is literally they're mentioning this range right here. There is another one we opened. So for say for example, instead of transaction range, we'll call this validity range.
See, this
Okay.
is what I was thinking about. Okay.
And this is the lower bound, this is the upper bound, and that's exactly what these guys are saying. There's a lower bound and the upper bound, and the transaction will be valid within these bounds. Okay. The validity interval is made of a lower bound optional and upper bound optional. And when they say optional, they're basically saying if we don't put them, that means it becomes minus infinity and plus infinity. And it is verified during phase 1 validations. Okay. That is, if a transaction is said to be valid only after the 5th January 2030, it can only be submitted and considered valid by the ledger after that date. Wait, I want to read this one more time. So if it is valid only after, okay, so they're basically saying the lower bound is 5th
Lower bound
January in
is
this
50.
case,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
This is 5th January. Okay, cool.
Wow.
Similarly, if the validity interval defines an upper bound, then the transaction will sit in mempools until then. Similarly, if a validity interval defines an upper bound, then the transaction will sit in mempools until then. Why will it sit in mempools until then? Did you guys understand this specific line?
I don't particularly know the mempool sort of
So it's just a
underworkings.
memory pool. You don't even have to know what a mempool is. It's just a memory pool. That means it is just the transaction is sitting there waiting for this deadline, but I don't understand it. If the validity interval defines an upper bound, so just say we are saying we have defined this upper bound and it's not positive infinity. Then the transaction will sit in mempool. So that means it's just sitting until then. Why would it sit until then is what I don't understand.
I don't understand that either.
Okay. I'm
Let's
gonna
continue
leave.
first.
Yeah, let's continue. It is pruned if it doesn't make it into a block by the specified date.
Like an escrow or something.
No, not an escrow. It's just a
Oh.
mempool. So it's a memory pool. That means it is waiting. Until then. It is
Like an
pruned.
escrow.
If it doesn't make it,
Make it into the block by the.
yeah,
Oh, so I
yeah,
think it makes sense. So what they're saying is if the transaction doesn't pass before this deadline
it
is
is
met,
there.
then it is thrown into the bin, right? If it doesn't make it into a block, it is pruned. Pruned is removed. If it
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't make it into the block by the
before
specified
that
date, yeah,
time,
yeah.
before the
So
upper
so
bound. Okay,
makes sense. So that
yeah.
so okay. So I think our assumption is still correct that the transaction has to live within the validity range. Okay. Thereby, one can introduce a notion of time in validators through the means of a validity intervals, through the means of validity intervals. Okay. Since they are checked during phase 1, a validator can assume that the transaction it validates is within the specified validity interval. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, should you ensure that an action happens only after a specific date, you can record that date as a datum and check that the transaction's lower bound is greater than that specified date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That you should ensure that action happens only after the specific date. Okay, so what they are saying is if we create a one-sided deadline, I'm going to put a deadline. Actually, I'm going to use this one. So if you have a one-sided deadline, if you only have must be after without having must be before, then it has to be before the lower limit of that time interval.
Yes.
Uh, okay. The validity interval can be as narrow as 1 second, allowing scripts to run at a very thin precision. Okay. Oh, so the validity interval can be as narrow as 1 second.
1 second.
So I see. Ooh, okay. Allowing scripts to run at a very thin precision. I see. Okay. However, a narrow interval means getting the transaction in a block may be more difficult. Okay, makes sense. As a reminder, there is one block every 20 seconds on an average minted on the Cardano blockchain. Blocks are usually propagated fast, but it can take a few minutes under movements of heavy load. Okay, cool. So now they have specifically said if we have just one deadline, a one-sided deadline, then it can be like this. But in
Mm-hmm.
our specific case, we have a two-sided deadline. So we have like a timestamp, and it is there is some conditions for it to be valid before and valid after. So how
Mm.
do we deal with this case?
Okay, so here's something that just popped in my head right now. So I
Mhm.
think we can try to deal with it looking at it using a one-sided deadline frame, right? So what we're going to do is that we'll check first if the deadline has been passed, right? Then if
How
that
will
deadline,
how will you check that if the deadline has been passed?
using the validity this logic that we looked at earlier, upper
Um,
bound, lower bound, must be after, must be before is I don't know, one of
oh,
those.
not this. 1 second. Yeah, must be after, must be before. So this one, right? Valid before, valid after.
Yeah. So we'll check if which one are we going to use for this deadline now? We're
Um,
looking if it's after, right?
it doesn't matter. We can pick one. For
We
now,
can pick
let's say
one.
valid after. Okay.
Okay. So let's say we use one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then once we use that one will be able to like verify for us if we've exceeded the deadline or not. Then if we've exceeded the deadline, we're going to carry out the logic for the deadline, wherein it must be the administrator that um passes the transaction. But if it doesn't, then we'll carry out the logic for the normal where you have to send two UTXOs. So we're just using the deadline as like um a decider, right? To decide how we'll carry out the logic.
Exactly, exactly. So my question is this. So we have the deadline, but even if you have to use this valid before or valid after, you still have to define a validity range. How are you defining the validity range in the
Uh,
transaction?
the validity range, I think, is going to only have one bound, right? Either only
Uh,
upper bound or lower bound, since we're dealing with just a specific deadline.
oh, so okay, let me draw that out. I think I am understanding. So you are basically saying there's only one bound. Okay, so so yeah, we have one bound. We have this guy here,
Yeah,
and we have a deadline. So I will get the deadline as well.
yeah.
Deadline. Okay. And then what do we do now? So we have lower bound and positive infinity or something like that, and we have a deadline. How do we decide?
Huh.
Um,
So
So,
valid before, say we are saying valid before, that means this deadline is before the lower bound. So that
okay,
means
yeah.
if the transaction happens anytime here, the transaction is invalid. Oh no, if the transaction happens here, it is invalid.
We could use these, check these out. So like must be after, or this one up here must be before. See what I mean?
No, I'm just like going off of what Gideon suggested.
Well, what I'm saying is
Gideon,
that those graphics can kind of very clearly say it. It's like this is must be after. Here is a lower limit, and then must be before. Here is an upper limit.
yeah. So what Gideon suggested is there is no upper limit at the moment. It is positive infinity. We are just considering one lower limit. Okay.
Okay, so let's take this one out.
So yeah, and
So,
then I'll take this guy out as well. And now, so by this it
and
means
use this as your transaction. There's your
okay,
transaction. Where,
okay. So the transaction has to exist here,
right.
like somewhere here, doesn't matter where.
Hmm.
And this is our deadline.
So a deadline is something that it works only up to. So this would be
No,
kind
no,
of
no,
It
Newman.
considered,
should be the other way around since it's
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it
it
should
must be
if this
before.
is so think about this. There's a oh shit. Think about this. There's also a thing called a start line,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
So Newman, let's not call this. How about this? I think our life would be easier if we just called it a timestamp, because I think the word deadline is starting to like confuse us. It's not a
Okay.
deadline. It's just a timestamp. Before the timestamp, there are different validation. There's a different validation. After the timestamp, there's a different validation. It's not really a deadline technically. Now, how do
Yeah,
we
Timeline.
go
that's
about it?
true. That's true.
Yeah.
More
Well,
like
what can
a,
we? What do you think, Lewis?
I was thinking more like a timeline. Let
Right.
me,
So we do have
mm,
a timeline. So here is just our timeline. This is
exactly.
everything. Everything goes on this time, and
Uh-huh.
everything has, so this timestamp should have one of these little bars. So there's the timestamp bar. Let's call it like this, and we'll group these. So now you can move this around. So everything is on the timeline, right? And this TX is the transaction, right? I'm just trying to get the framework because I do think that this graphics helped me quite a bit, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. How do?
Randomly.
But I think Gideon, was
Yeah.
it Gideon? Yeah, I think it was Gideon that said like it might be backwards. Like so, oh, if we're working on our um assignment, there are two conditions, right? There's just one timestamp. Before the timestamp, everything goes. All the transactions are submitted. After the timestamp, and which
No,
we
no,
are
no. There
calling
are two separate
deadline. So
conditions.
we could change it. We could change it in our code. But after the deadline timestamp, this happens. Before the deadline timestamp, this happens.
Correct.
So I can draw that out on our Figma, and that would help me
No,
quite a
no,
bit.
but like we don't care about the conditions currently, right?
Ah, okay.
Because those conditions we'll figure out. But
Mm.
how do we know that this timestamp has passed or not passed? And in both cases, the transaction has to be valid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that we know that using those vodka um valid after, valid before. Ooh, so we could call these in our graphics the lower time, and that might be confusing. Like how would we visualize this on the Figma? valid after and valid before.
Yes.
I
How would
think,
we check if the validity range is after the required timestamp? So we just do this, right? So this is the timestamp. Is
oh,
the
wait a minute.
validity range after? That means is the lower limit after the timestamp, is what they're saying.
Well, is this
Mm-hmm.
valid? This is valid after.
Yeah, yeah. We can basically use that now.
This one.
Yes.
So if we use this, so my concern is if we use this, we are basically saying the transaction will exist here, but what happens if it's before the timestamp?
Uh,
So to be able to use this, we have to define a validity range. If we are
mm-hmm.
defining the lower bound of the validity range, and we are saying, hey, just check if the lower bound comes after the timestamp, that means everything before the lower bound, say for example, before the timestamp or the deadline passes, would fail
Mm-hmm.
in our transaction, is what I'm thinking.
Uh, I don't think it will necessarily fail, right? Um,
Yeah.
because we're basically just working with Boolean values, right? So
Correct.
yeah, we're getting true or false if we check this. So if it's true, we're going to do one thing. If it's false, we're going to do another thing. Does that make
Uh,
sense?
no, no, that makes perfect sense. But this is where I'm concerned. So the validity range we are
Mm-hmm.
getting from our transaction. Okay,
Okay,
that
so on
means
the
we are
transaction,
setting the validity range in our
yeah,
transaction.
yeah. That
You
is
get
true.
you get my concern?
I understand, yeah.
Yeah.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you, Ahmad.
So I kind of want to look at this from the concept of time,
Mm-hmm.
as
Absolutely.
a straight line, like
Mm-hmm.
some I think Lewis made mention of that. That goes from zero to probably infinity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and on this line we have 2 points. And
Correct.
one of the points is we are representing with invalid before and invalid after. So these 2 points, the gap
Mm-hmm.
between them becomes our validity range, right?
Correct. So you're basically saying this one and this one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the time space or the units between this invalid before and invalid after hereafter becomes our validity range. And I think our deadline also has to fall. Or what's the question again? Our set deadline has to be between um, that same validity range between the invalid before and invalid after.
Yeah.
So we can
So,
now set
okay.
our rules. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go
If
ahead. Go ahead.
we incur invalid before or invalid after. I don't know if I'm communicating right,
No,
but
no. So this
yeah.
is right. Invalid after, invalid before. Valid before, valid
Yeah.
after.
Yeah. So that's just like how I'm trying to like visualize this. Uh, mhm, mhm.
So, yeah. So this is what Ahmad is saying. Ahmad is saying somehow we will figure out that this thing. Like I get your visualization, but I don't understand how we'll figure this out.
Well, let me jump in here.
Who? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Newman. I think that one of the things is that there is a validity range, and
Mm-hmm.
that's inside of the transaction. So if you if you've got this, let's just call this a transaction, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and it has an upper bound and a
So
lower
it so
bound.
we basically, so if you want to look at it, so if you just go to a transaction is something that we are building, remember. So all of these fields will be populated by us, by the user, right? So when I am building this transaction, I'm creating this validity range.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Ooh,
I'm just
ooh.
saying, hey, my transaction will be valid between these times if I define it. Okay. Now going back to this, uh, is that where we are getting this upper and lower bound from? From this transaction, right? This upper and lower bound.
I think that comes from the validity range. So just let's do this as our graphic now. So that has an upper bound and this has a
I
right?
feel like it's somewhere my understanding might be wrong. Like correct guys, like correct me whenever I'm saying something wrong, correct me, okay? Um, is this right? We get our validity range from the transaction. Do you guys agree with that? So that means we are
Yeah,
the ones putting the validity range in here.
setting the
Yeah,
boundary. Yes, yes.
I think
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
Now the deadline
Yes.
is just a timestamp or a number that already exists in the datum on the blockchain. So this is just a number at this point. It has nothing to do with time.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Correct?
deadline we are getting, if you go back to the code, we are supplying the deadline when
Yeah,
we
like this,
construct
something
this.
like this. I mean, we
Well,
haven't done that yet in our assignment, but this will be how we'll do it. We'll supply it through a datum, some deadline through a datum, or we
oh,
parameterize. Like in our case, we just parameterize the deadline in the
yeah,
validator.
this one. Yeah, that's the deadline. That comes from parameterizing,
Okay,
right?
we have the deadline. It is just a number at this point. Okay,
Right.
now,
So the deadline could be here. So these are use cases, right? So the deadline could be after our validity range, or let's just make another one because we can. The deadline could be actually there's only because it's a well, I don't know how many use cases there are, but the deadline could be here, before our validity range, or it could be here, if this is helpful. It could be in here, inside, right? So those are the three use cases. So if you scroll down a little bit on our screen, yeah.
oh,
So those are the three use cases. I mean, that I see. And what we use is this. We use these valid before and valid. Oh shit. We use this valid before and valid after. Let's do it here. Right? So if it's well, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. This goes with this. This with our deadline because it's valid before this. Oh, we've got two different ranges. That's what it is. This makes sense to me. So you've got a transaction validity range and
mm-hmm.
you've got a Aiken file logic validity range, so to speak.
What do you mean Aiken file logic? The Aiken file logic comes from the transaction, right? Like, look at, I'll
Well,
tell you
there's
what
two
I.
different ones. There's the transaction itself, and
Uh-huh.
then what we create in our logic.
What have we created in our logic?
So what
That's
we've
just the
created is
datum,
this
right? What we
this
have in
val.
our logic is just the datum.
Yes, that's right. But
So,
it
uh-huh.
basically our logic is 24 to 29 in this code. This is the time AK.
Correct,
So
yeah.
that logic has to get validated. Basically, it's right there. Let's look at line 26.
Okay.
So the two parts, and this is just how Mrs. Zaglin in the fourth grade taught me word problems.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, okay, just take everything and put it, we've got it on this paper, but we're getting a validity range from the transaction, right? And we're getting some other important clues from the datum. So, and they're two different things, the transaction validity range and the datum validity
So the
logic.
transaction validity range is coming from the transaction.
That comes
The
from the
datum
transaction.
stuff is coming from like, it's coming from the UTXO, which is already on chain. Okay.
Mm.
So just
Ah,
in this case, if you want to visualize this, Newman, it's actually
yeah.
quite, where is this?
Okay.
I will draw that out. And I think we have already seen this. So this is exactly what is happening. So this is the datum range. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the validity range. And this
Right.
is the passing case. That means the validity range falls within the datum range. And that's exactly what time.ak is saying. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That is what this part does. This time dot AK is saying, this part from 25 to 28 is saying.
Yeah.
But in our case, there's a single timestamp. We are saying the transaction is valid on both sides of the timestamp. So do we even like um so what okay, how about this, guys? Actually, I don't know. Like, I thought I had an idea, but then turns out it's not a good idea.
Went away. Oh man.
Um,
Ahmed, Gideon, what do you think?
I'm sorry, guys, if I confused both of you guys,
Yeah,
Gideon and Ahmad. I'm so
it's
sorry.
it's
Well,
kind of a
conf
lot, to be honest.
confusion's okay because it's just the first step to understanding, to be honest.
I'm still kind of trying to rack my brain to find out. Different ideas are just coming and going in and out of my head. So,
Well, take that, if you want to draw it out, I sent the Figma.
Yeah, so you guys can jump into Figma and start drawing stuff out like us, just to like visualize things if you want.
Yeah,
Um, so I'll tell you the bad idea I had, which is a terrible idea, by the way, but I'm going to draw it anyway.
let's do it.
So the deadline is coming from the datum. We are not even
mhm.
setting the validity range. Okay.
Yes.
We are just
Yeah.
asking the user, whoever is sending in the transaction, to give us a piece of information, say, for example, in the redeemer with the current time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If the current time
Okay.
falls before the deadline, something happens. After the deadline, something happens. But
Yeah.
if the guy is a scammer, they can easily like cheat the system. So that is why it's a terrible idea.
Mm.
Um, hmm.
This is interesting. What is the validity range when you don't set it? Because that valid
Oh, that is
before,
minus infinity to plus infinity when you don't
it's
set
right.
it.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, it's always valid.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
always valid. So it doesn't, but the valid before and valid after requires a validity range, and
Mhm.
it's just always true, right?
Yeah, if you don't set it, it's always true. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it possible to set like two different validity ranges?
Oh,
Um,
you're thinking of the two different cases. So before what we call the deadline, um, anybody can make this transaction. After the deadline, it requires the verification pub key hash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the double thing that's going on here.
mm, but, um,
I don't know.
mm, I have
If I
thought
had
myself
to
into a corner. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Newman.
if I had to do it,
Okay,
um,
so
oh wait, Lewis, you got a
I got an idea.
okay,
Mhm.
cool. Let's do it.
So I feel like the transaction should be the line. Hold on, let me draw it.
Yeah, are you in the
Yeah, I'm figuring out how to use this thing.
Yeah,
How did I
yeah.
line? Let me copy
Lewis is
this.
right here. Yeah, Lewis is right here.
Oh, God damn it.
Tell me, like, do you want a
Okay.
straight line? Do you want a straight line?
Yeah.
Here it is.
So
I'll draw it for
so you
you.
see,
Here is your line.
nice, 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 nice.
Oh shit, Lewis went away.
Yeah, yeah. No, scroll up a bit.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right here.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm using this as an example, yeah. And then
Mhm.
Control C and Control V. Oh, there we go,
You
there
can
we go.
also alt drag. Okay. Okay, there's our is
Yeah,
that our timeline?
yeah. And then this should be the validity range. And then this is a transaction,
Okay.
right?
Hold on, I'll pull down a
So,
transaction for you.
S- s-
Here's the transaction. Okay.
Okay.
but like instead of it like that, I feel like, oh Lord Jesus. Oh. How do I rotate?
You want to rotate it around?
Yeah.
Um, so you can
And like
just
it needs to look like this line.
Okay,
okay.
okay,
So
okay. Hold on. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Hold on.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah. So what are you
Yeah, I
saying now?
just
What is the idea? Core idea?
so and we're moving like this way. We're moving. Oh my days. We're moving to the right.
To the right. Okay,
To the
that's the
right.
flow of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the flow of time. And then like that, yeah. I'm not I think I'm confusing some of this. Wait, let me look at that. Whatever. The document.
What is the circle? Oh, Big Bang. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so something like that.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
this
So
should also be validity range. Yeah, yeah. So
okay.
this side is valid before what the fudge?
So, Louis, are you saying the transaction is outside of the validity range? Remember, if a transaction is
Mm.
outside of the validity range, then it will fail.
Well,
Oh,
wait a minute. Wait a
okay.
minute.
I think
The-
I don't know you guys. So I've been thinking, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to the beginning and what you were saying about the validity range coming from the transaction, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that really matters since
Mm-hmm.
basically everything depends on the transaction builder, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So if we set it like that, the transaction builder that will determine. So okay, if we set let's say for example we have our deadline, right? And our deadline is the lower bound, or
Okay,
maybe
I completely get what you're saying. Now I think it's all of a sudden cleared my head. Okay, got it, got it. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead, Gideon. Yeah.
yes. So we have our deadline. The
Mm-hmm.
transaction builder builds the transaction and sets the the time or the validity
Mm-hmm.
range of that transaction before the
Mm-hmm.
deadline.
Mm-hmm.
The logic is ready in the smart contracts in the validator. So the
Correct.
validator will just check that, oh, yes, it is within this time frame, right? Then
Correct.
it will look for the logic for within that time frame, right?
Correct. Correct.
But if it is after, the logic is still there. It will still look for the same stuff after the time frame. So it doesn't really matter if it's coming from. It depends on the transaction builder. Basically, that's what I'm just saying.
Yes, no,
I don't know if you understand.
I absolutely understand. 100% I understand now. Okay, I'm going to clear this up. I'll just like repeat what
yeah.
Gideon just said. So we have the deadline. This is a constant timestamp. Okay.
Okay.
And from the transaction, you get the validity range. Okay. To make sure that it is, if the transaction is happening after the deadline or not, all we have to do is they say this is okay. Oh shit. One second, let me remove this. Okay, so this is the transaction validity range. Now all we have to check if the deadline is coming, if the transaction is happening after or before is, if it is happening after, we need to check the lower bound. But if it is happening before, we need to check the upper bound, and that's all we need to do. You get what
Oh,
I'm saying? So if the
yeah.
transaction has
Yeah.
been sent here, we just need to check, is this upper bound before the deadline or not? But if it is happening after, is the lower bound after the deadline or not? And that's it. We got the answer. And yes, Gideon is
Yes.
100% right. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes
No,
sense
no, no,
also.
Newman, no more confusion. No more random confusion. I think we got
But
it
are you
here.
going to use, how are you going to check, how are you going to check the upper bound, uh, how are you going to check the upper bound of the validity range?
What do you mean? However good, like just with before, after. So here it is. Valid before, valid after, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we checking? Is this required timestamp um, before
Is the
check if the
validity
valid
range before the timestamp?
yeah, exactly, is the validity range before the timestamp. That means we are basically checking this. Okay, if this turns out to be true, then the validity range is before the timestamp. But if this turns out to be true, that means the validity
Then
range is
it's
after the
after.
timestamp. That
Yep.
is how we know that the deadline has passed or not, or on which side of the
Yes.
deadline we are on.
Yes.
Make sense, guys? Ahmad, Lois, Newman, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It does. Like I was trying to say something like, but I couldn't like the way you just did. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's fine, that's fine. But both Ahmad and Gideon figured it out. This is amazing. Okay, fantastic. So now that I understand this, let's make the changes to our assignment. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to the assignment. And we already have the deadline in the parameters. Okay, so there is some
Mm-hmm.
timestamp there. So now let's look at the logic. Is before deadline or not? This is the line that needs to change, right? Here I used is entirely before or entirely after, which is coming from this guy. Let's quickly check. Entirely after or entirely before. Create an interval that includes all the values after and not included the given bound. Uh, so this is very confusing to me. So I'll stick to
Can
this
you go
guy,
back?
this one, right? What were we saying, Gideon?
Yeah, yeah, just continue, don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to use this. So I'll ask these questions. Is before the deadline would be uh validity range is before. Yeah. So valid before. So all I have to do is before deadline, valid before.
Yep.
Okay. And I'll put valid before from cocktail. Do we have anything from cocktail? No. Use cocktail valid before.
Yep.
And then we can remove this guy. Um,
Yep.
okay. So this will tell
Yeah,
us
yeah,
if
yeah.
it is before the deadline.
The deadline, yes.
Um, so should we also, so in this case, should we,
Then we use after as well.
you use after as well, right? That's what
Yeah.
let is after deadline is
Set the
valid
deadline
after.
valid
Okay.
after. Yep.
And I will put it here. Okay. So now we
Yes.
have these. Okay.
Then,
Okay.
yep.
So when, so I'll make it tuple here. Is after deadline. Okay. And we'll pattern match true false,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is before deadline.
But
Go ahead.
I don't think using both of them is necessary since automatically um they are opposites. I don't know.
No, no. So it can be on the deadline, right? By like there's small
Okay.
chance.
Uh Okay.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
yeah,
one
yeah.
second, but like it's just like one point in time, but still we don't know, right? If it exactly, there's a very, very small chance.
Yeah, that okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Also, I'll just say when it is on the deadline, it'll just be false.
Mm-hmm.
So here I will put
Hmm.
true false,
Mm.
and this will be false true,
False, true.
and
Yeah.
everything else, oh sorry, and everything else is false. I think this
False.
covers all
Yeah.
three of the cases.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, look at that. Okay.
Is after deadline. Why is this saying this? It came across an unused variable. Is after deadline. Is after deadline.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, it's how is this is not, it's not okay, it's just saving.
Okay.
Okay. And now I feel like our our logic should work.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Now we
everything?
got to test. Oh,
Yep.
oh, we got
Now
the
we have
test.
to
Look at
test
this.
because Ahmad last time Ahmad like told us like a little magic trick with like a -1. So it'll have to work without the -1. I don't know
Ah,
what. Yeah. Now let's run the test. Aiken build just to make sure everything's fine. We unuse constructor. Okay, everything's fine. Aiken check. And what are we calling our assignment
yeah,
test
just grab the whole thing.
success?
Yeah, there you go. That's the match flag. Oh,
Oh, it failed again. What did we do wrong? Maybe we'll have to double check the test.
okay. Yeah, let's go through
Mm,
the test again.
yeah, so in the test, we defined a deadline, some random deadline.
Okay.
Does it matter whether what the deadline is? It doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. It could be any number. Um, does that make sense, guys? Like
Oh,
it
I
could be
think it's
literally
because
any number, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I think it's because of the -1. Try the deadline
I
-1 trick.
didn't. There is no -1.
Well, no,
Why
that's why
minus?
I think that's why it failed. See if you do the -1 and then try it again.
Uh, but I'm saying why -1? That's what I don't understand.
Well, we're gonna
Um,
find out. But let's see if if anything if our logic changed the fail test
it
or
passed.
did
See,
the yeah. Okay, so it passed. So our logic hasn't changed anything. So
Yeah, it didn't.
so
I-
that's interesting.
hmm, what are we missing here? What is this -1 thing? I really need to figure this out. This is like bothering me so much.
I think if you figured that out, I think if you figured that out,
I'll become the king of Aiken.
you will become
Uh,
the king. You will become king of Aiken.
so invalid
I
hereafter.
think you can do it.
Invalid hereafter. Okay. So, what is this exactly doing? Add an upper bound
Add the
validity
upper
range
bounds
for
to the
transaction.
transaction.
Uh, this function will only run when the condition is true. Okay. Did we put true in there? Like one second.
Ooh.
Oh, we did put true. Okay.
Condition.
So we passed the mocktail transaction. We piped it in. Okay. We passed the mocktail transaction.
I
We piped it in. We put we put a time interval. Okay, so we are putting this time, and this is
Yeah,
so
upper
basically we are
bound.
setting an upper bound, right? And upper
Yeah,
bound. Okay. So if we are
which is
setting
our
an upper
time.
bound, we are basically saying if we are setting an upper bound, so we are basically saying the transaction has to happen before the deadline.
Mm.
That's what we are saying here.
yeah.
Um, right? Is it so? Are we checking for and what are we doing here?
The deadline
Ah.
is
So
1 minute.
that okay.
What was that, Newman?
Well, I think this gets around that the logic of the logic of our validator versus the parameters
5.80.
of our transaction.
Correct,
So
correct.
when we're doing that mocktail we're creating the transaction variable, we're working with,
Oh, now I get it. Okay. No, no, I
got
get
it.
it. I get it. Now I
There you
understand.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
Run,
Go ahead,
run,
Newman.
run, be
Sorry.
free.
No, so now I perfectly get it. I perfectly get why the -1 works, by the way.
Okay. Yep.
Do you know why it works? Because the moment we say deadline -1, we are making sure that the validity range, the upper bound of the
Use
validity range is before the deadline.
look. Use your words. So like right there, it's without -1. When we go to here, it's -1. Got
Yeah,
it?
we are basically saying we are moving it like behind the deadline.
That's right.
I see. So right now, let me test one more thing. So this is the deadline, right? What
Yep.
if I just say once, I'll just change, I'll copy this number and I'll just change it to three zeros here, 000. Okay. This should
Okay.
also this should also
Yes,
pass
yes. Good.
because
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
changing it, right?
Yeah,
Let's see if the thing is true. There you go.
it is true. Yeah.
Okay. So now I understand Ahmad's magic -1.
Dun
Okay.
dun dun.
All right. Okay. I feel pretty good about this. I kind of understand it. Guys, do you want to finish this off and write another test? I don't know what the time is. I haven't been looking at the time.
Well, we got quarter hour, 15 minutes.
We have got 15 minutes.
So we got
Okay,
we got
beautiful.
time. We got time for let's do a test
So
where
we have done a
yeah.
test for what happens before, like if
For the
before
deadline.
the deadline. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Gideon.
No, continue.
Now we'll have to do a test for what happens after the deadline. So what is the logic we wrote for after the deadline? We wrote, so
The
true,
signature.
false. This one, right? Oh, extra signatures. Yeah.
Yeah, extra
Yeah.
signatures. Yeah, let's
So
write the test case
let's,
for that. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
I'm
this
going
is
to
it.
copy this and change this up.
Boom.
I'm going to call this assignment test success after deadline. Okay. I'm going to give this random timestamp. That's fine. Administrator pub key hash we have given. Value 1, value 2. Does it matter? So
Uh
it really doesn't matter because these transaction outs don't, oh, or we'll just keep the transaction outs, that doesn't matter. But
Mm.
here we need to make sure we are passing in the
extra
administrator key into
yeah.
the
Signature. Yeah.
uh, required signer hash. True. Did we have administrator mock pub key hash? Yes. Required signer administrator true. Okay. So we have passed in the administrator key. And this one, instead of this, I want to put a little more than this. So what I'll do is I'll copy this guy and I'll change it to like 9. Doesn't matter.
Mm.
Just like
Yeah.
4 milliseconds. Or required signer hash. We need to get that. Required signer hash. Where are we getting required signer hash from? Is it from Mocktail? Required signer hash.
Yeah,
And
from
required. Okay, cool. Uh, where is
okay.
this? Valid before. Required signer hash. Oh, required signer hash is coming from, 1 second. Where is it coming from? Not from Mocktail?
It's vodka.
Uh, um,
Yeah, that's it right
so,
there.
w- um, where is this? Required signer hash. Is it
Oh,
Sedan Labs
um,
vodka, right? Like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Vodka.
Um, or maybe is it here?
Yeah, probably there.
Okay, let's try. Okay, that worked. Okay, cool. So we have everything here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just put in the required signer and we have increased the timestamp here. Uh, let's clear this and Aiken Check. Will this work or will this not work, guys? The
It should work. No.
It should work. That's what I'm also thinking.
Oh,
And it
Ah,
failed. Yay!
Failed.
That's really good. Wait, wait. No, no, no. Wait, wait. I know why it
um,
failed. I know why it failed. Wait, do I know why it failed? I don't know why it failed. Uh, what is it checking? List has extra signatories and it doesn't care for all of these guys, right? Like, so I can have whatever I want. Why would it fail? Did it tell me something? Did it give a reason for failing? I forget. How do we put like a little check for fail? 1 second. I
Uh,
thought we could put like a little check,
I thought
some question mark or
question
something like
mark.
that.
Yeah, I just put a question mark behind the
Here, right?
uh
No? I mean, let's try it. I mean,
yeah,
nothing to
try it. Why
lose.
not? I think it's like after.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
there it
I
is.
mean, like, it's literally when we put question mark, it's literally saying, hey, yeah, that's right. This is where it's failing. I mean, we know that.
This says false.
Yeah. Uh,
Are you
what are we missing
doing?
here? Put the deadline, blah, blah, blah. Mm,
Oh, are you giving it? Okay, there's the administrator in the,
yeah, I put required
and then
sign
also on 87.
87.
Remember,
What?
that's the first two parameters
No,
of
these
the,
parameters are exactly the same anyway because they're parameterized, right?
yeah.
What am I missing? What am I missing? So I'm going to take a look at required signer one more time. It is the byte array. It required signer hash. It takes the byte array.
So yeah, look at the little example. It's just a condition, and we've got that as administrator, and then the
Yeah.
key. I don't how do we use it again?
So it's just the byte array. The key is just the byte array.
So go back. Maybe it's go back to the code again. How are we using it? We're saying required signer true and
And administrator is the
administrator.
key, which is just
That's the
a,
key.
yeah, because it is a byte array, right? Yeah, so this is a verification key hash, which is a byte array. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm, where could I have verification key hash is a hash, and hash is always a byte array. Yeah, that's fine. Um, what am I missing
Yeah,
here?
so can you guys
Hmm.
hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah,
can
I
we
was
hear
just
you.
got you.
looking at the library and I saw this function, this mocktail function, add
Hmm.
extra signatory. Should we try it out?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we could try a different one.
What is
Yeah.
what is it called?
Add extra signatory.
Add extra signatory. Add extra signatory. Okay. Oh, we are adding, right? This is like a required sign. Oh, this is like checking. Oh, you're right. Add extra signatory, right? Is that right? Add extra signatory. Okay. So now it makes sense because this is like this is checking. We are not adding.
Mm.
So, where is that? Mocktail.
Ooh,
You get what I'm
okay.
saying?
Yeah. Good catch.
Ah, fuck, not here. Uh, maybe it is here. Add extra signatory. Okay. What is this? Why is
So it's
this
gonna
being
be
sketchy? 1 second. What is this? I struggle to unify the types of
Sometimes
this.
that does it. Sometimes it does it. It doesn't. Yeah.
Uh,
Um, I mean, does it matter in for
We could
this?
just
Like,
take
I
it
don't
out. I
even
mean,
like, yeah,
yeah,
both of
it's
them we
just
can
not
take it
checking
out.
for that.
Oh, oof, what is going on here?
I don't understand.
Well, what is it?
I, see if it builds because I sometimes that just happens when you do an import and whatnot.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
see, it's look at go back to the documentation how they used the add extra signatory after complete.
Oh, they have done it after
Okay.
complete. Oh, you're right. You are
Yes,
right.
Gideon on fire.
Oh, yeah, Gideon is totally on fire today. Oh, my Lord. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now I can check. Whoops, it failed again. What did we do wrong? No.
So, so it's interesting. It's like, where is it failing? Yeah.
Oh, wait, invalid hereafter. No, no. This has to be invalid before, right?
Uh, and you
It has
don't
to be
really need. Hmm,
invalid before is what we need. Yeah, invalid before is what we need,
I don't even. Okay.
right?
Sure.
Well, that I think that's gonna. I think you should just set the. You don't need those. You just set the transaction, or you don't even have to set it. You don't set it at.
How do you mean?
Well, I'm just thinking in that transaction.
So let's go back to our diagram just for 2 seconds,
Sure. Yeah.
right? Deadline, invalid before, right? So when you are
Yeah.
saying invalid before, that means it's not valid here, it's valid after.
So, but
Valid
it's
after the,
setting.
oh yeah. I guess I think you're correct, Asha.
Uh, yeah. So let's try it and see what happens.
Invalid here after.
Okay, so that worked.
What did you do?
Oh,
Yeah, it
just
passed.
change it to like valid,
Invalid before.
invalid before.
But it
Mhm.
because we added the extra signatory due to our logic, it so that's success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yeah. So, but this time thing is extremely confusing for me,
It's
like until
always
Gideon like cleared it for me. Oh
I
God. Yeah.
I want to build a visualization tool uh that takes in this logic and then draws a diagram. Because right now, based on that logic, we should be able to get a diagram that explains it in a visual way. Like the time really does make a difference for me, like being able to see it on a timeline. Um, and I think that should be relatively easy to do. Um,
Hold on.
you know,
What was
so that
that?
we don't have to guess.
Yeah, yeah, no, I thought today was like a really productive
It
session
was fun.
just
Yeah.
because we like all went had to go through this time
Yeah.
thing together.
Yeah.
Every time I look at time, I get confused. We did the exact same thing last time,
Totally.
and we
Absolutely.
had to repeat the whole thing all over again.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah,
it wasn't as bad this time. Each time it gets a little better.
yep,
Um,
yep.
uh, and hey, this is going to be our last one. Next week we'll be free and on a different adventure.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, Gideon and Ahmad, So we are planning to, and even Louis for that matter, if you are into this kind of thing. So we are planning to start like a summer hackathon for the next 3 months, but it's not a hackathon where you have to compete with people and win. So we'll have like a
Okay.
little pie of money, and whoever builds and like satisfies some conditions gets to get a pie of that money. And you guys have built stuff together before, so I thought uh, it's a good idea to like start thinking about what you want to build during the summer as well.
Yeah.
Eh?
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't have to compete with anyone. That's the best part. You don't have to be like, oh, my
Yeah.
project is better than them. Like, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
The conditions for getting rewarded a piece of the pie is like doing like check-ins, and we're thinking of like at least a weekly check-in, kind of like a stand-up. And so it's like, oh, here's my project and I'm continuing to work on it.
Like
Um,
we did.
yeah. And then what was the other? There's a couple of other conditions that we're thinking about, like getting a live customer. Like if you get live customers, then you might get a little more of the pie. And seems like there was one
Yeah,
more.
just putting tweets about how you are, like how your project is going forward, like they're just like
Yeah.
little things,
Yeah.
basically. So I think it'll just be fun. But the exact rules we'll get to know tomorrow. If you guys
Yeah.
are free, Lewis and Gideon and Ahmad, if you guys are free, I think coming to tomorrow's open spaces would be really awesome.
Yeah,
All
that would
right.
be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll share the documents. Harsha and I will work on it this afternoon and try to figure out like a proposal.